Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video in a tutorial, and today we're going to be taking a look at reading and writing to a file. Now this is a pretty easy subject. All you need is a little guidance to figure it out, and it's honestly probably one of the easiest things you can do. So I'm just going to get started by creating a new Maven project, and I'm just going to title it IO. IO stands for in and out. IO file demo. And in this tutorial, we are going to be working with text files. So I'm going to open up my source folder, my main folder, and then create a new package in my Java folder. And I'm just going to call this package com.oraxio.io file, or you know what, file demo. And within this package, I can create a new Java class called main. Now this main Java class is going to have our main method. I'm not sure. Sorry if you hear some cheering outside. There's a marathon going on. And this main class is just going to hold all of our code. Our main code. Right, so this is going to be the origin of our program. This is going to be where we specify what file we are going to write to and what we are going to write in that file. So let's get started by creating a brand new package within the main package called utils. Utils is short for utilities, and in the utilities package I like to put classes that contain tools that all programs can use. This includes a file loader, or a utilities class that, for example, converts an array to a hash map, or sorts a hash map. General tools like that I put inside of the utilities folder. So within this utilities package, let's create a file loader class. This file loader class is only going to contain static methods because we are reading and writing to a file, and these actions are actions that we want to be able to perform throughout the entire program, no matter where we are performing it from. So let's get started with writing to a file, and this is relatively simple. Let's first zoom in so that you guys can see better. And I'm just going to create a public static void write file method. Now you should know what static means, but the purpose of me putting static in this case is because the write file is not an object that we are returning. It is an operation that we want to perform throughout the entire program. But you should learn more about the static keyword. It is a very important concept. Now, within the parameters of the write file method, we want to state two things. First, we want to state the path of the file that we will write to, and we will state the data that we want to write inside the file. Now, the path of the file is the location in the computer of where the file is stored. So, to create these parameters, we're simply going to create a string parameter called path and string data. And as you can see, now we have two parameters, each representing one path and one data. And we are just going to create a buffered writer. Call this buffered writer BW, and we'll set that equal to a new buffered writer. And the parameters within this new buffered writer, we want to specify the output method, so we're going to say new file writer and then we'll pass in the path. And then we do want to throw an IO exception. Now, I will just, for now, surround this with this try catch statement, since that is the simplest way to deal with this right now. Actually, you know what? I will add an exception signature, and we can deal with the error. We can handle the error within the main class. So, now that we've created this buffered writer, and don't worry, I will explain what that is in a second. We're just going to say bw.write. So now that we've created the buffered writer, we are going to actually write with the buffered writer. And we're going to do string.value of data. And now, let's just say bw.flush and bw.close. Now, the great thing about IntelliJ is that you can hover your cursor over these methods, and it will specify what these methods do. So, in the case of the buffered writer, if we hover our mouse over it, we can read this paragraph, which will state exactly what the buffered writer does. You can see it writes to a character output stream, buffering characters so as to provide for the efficient writing of single characters, arrays, and strings. Now, in context, just to simplify, a buffered writer, a buffered anything, is a sort of packaging method. So when you're sending data, what's happening is you are bundling different packages or different objects together so that you can send those at once. So you can think of a mail service where when you send a postcard and then you send 2 other postcards 2 days later or a few seconds afterwards, those postcards aren't sent individually. Instead, they are put into one box, and that one box is then sent to the destination. It's a way of grouping together information and sending it. So then we, of course, write with the buffered writer. And then, if we just hover our mouse over this bw.flush, it just says flushes stream, which basically is literally like flushing your toilet. It clears out the pathway. And then we close the stream. And read this paragraph right here if you want more context. So, now that we've created this write file method, we are ready to test it. Within the main method, I'm going to create a try catch statement. My apologies if you dislike my formatting, but this is just how I code. I learned this type of formatting when I was doing C# with Unity, and I love it a lot because, as you can see, when we create an opening bracket, it aligns with the closing bracket that is associated with it, making it clear to read the code. So, within this try catch statement, we are going to catch for an IO exception, which is simply an in and out exception, any error that occurs while writing or reading a file. So, let's just go ahead inside this catch statement, do e.print stack trace. That is the simplest action that we can take. Within the try statement, we are going to actually want to write to the file. So to do this, because our write file method is static, all we have to state is file loader, which is the name of our class, dot write file. And you can do this statement anywhere in your program because the write file method is static. So within the write file statement, we want to invoke these 2 parameters, the path and the data. Starting with the path, we are just simply going to say test file.txt. Then, for the data, we're going to say writing data. Or how about we say hello world. Now, what will this statement do? Well, it's going to access or invoke the write file method. This write file method is going to write to a text file whatever data we specify within these parameters, within the second parameters, and to whichever file that we state in this path parameter. Now the path parameter, this one is just going to create a text file in the root directory. The root directory is this IO file demo. So, what happens if this file doesn't already exist? Well, it's simply going to create a new file and then write whatever data we specified. So let's run this program. All we have to do is right-click main and click run. And if you wait a second and look inside of the hierarchy, you can see within this root directory, IO file demo, it created a new test file.txt. TXT referring to text. If we double click this, we can see that it wrote hello world, just like we specified it to do within this data parameter. Pretty cool, right? We can change this to say, this is being written from the main class. Run this, and you will see that it does not create a new text file because the path of this text file already exists. Instead of creating a new text file, it will simply access the file that already has that specified path. You can see it changed the text within this file to say, this is being written from the main class. And that is how you write to a text file. Pretty simple stuff, right? In the next episode, we will be writing multiple lines to the text file. This will be a little more complicated because it will have to do with iteration, but fairly simple. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next video. See ya.